Welcome to another episode of Real Shit Let's Talk podcast. You know me, JR, featuring special guest, Mr.
Alexander the Great.
All right. So we're here today at Waffle House, man. We finna get into it. So we got a couple questions, just a little Q&A. We're gonna talk a little bit and vibe at Waffle House while Mr. Alexander the Great answers our question. You tell us a little bit about yourself if you want.
So, my government name is Devonte Alexander, but at Waffle House I go by Alexander the Great to make it easy for people to remember. Originally from Portland, Oregon. Ended up in Charleston because I was supposed to go play football at North Greenville. So the way to get around the SAT and ACT, I went to Charleston Southern, and of course I did 2 years there and lost contact with the coach. And long story short, ended up at Waffle House. So.
All right, cool. Ooh, shoot, man. Football,
Yeah.
man. What position?
Wide receiver and DB.
Okay.
So I have some skills. So
Okay, you
Yeah.
say, hey, shout out, hey, they got skills at Waffle House for real.
yes, sir.
All right, oh, man, that's deep. He played football. I'm
Yeah.
still on that. Shoot, and this brought you here.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the Waffle House.
Okay. Well, sure. Let me just jump into some questions then, real quick. Um, okay. So, what's your formula of healing like tough situations here at Waffle House?
Say it again.
What is your healing like to help like situations here, challenging situations here in Waffle House?
Well, I treat people as just regular people. I don't look at my title as I'm the manager. It's this is like my sister, my brother, my nephew, my uncle, my grandma, and so I just treat them the way that I would want to be treated. And I don't look at myself as some dictator, because at the end of the day, it could be my shift at any given time. So,
Okay. Do you feel appreciated enough here at work?
from the associate, yes, but because I do my job so well, then I can be overlooked because I'm not a trouble store.
What do
And
you-
so-
yeah.
To not take away from anything that the upline does, but it's just I pride myself on being the non-troubled child. And so with me being a non-troubled child, then sometimes the things that I do great can be overlooked because I'm not, in the spotlight. And I'm always under the radar. So
Do you say under the radar because of your race or because of a challenging store?
I would say, well, not because of my race, because Waffle House is, they're very diverse and culture-wise. So, but with me not being a troubling store, then it can be pushed to the side because the presence isn't needed. And I pride myself on, being a non-trouble store because Waffle House has a history of, stores being on YouTube and,
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. So, what are like some characteristics that you would use to hire new incoming people to this particular Waffle House or Waffle House in general?
Well, I really don't look at their character because nobody can really prove their character over an interview.
Okay.
I tell all my applicants up front, I really don't enjoy the interviewing process because it doesn't show me how your work ethic is. And so I love that Waffle House pushed out the in-unit part to where associates, they come in for like however many hours on their first day, and we see how they work with the associates and all that stuff. And based off that, will let me know if this person's going to be good or bad. And so it's really hard to tell somebody based off an interview because I can study a YouTube video and ace the interview, but my work ethic, you can't fake that.
Being in this high volume, low volume situation or job atmosphere, how is your mental state doing this?
Well, being a 24-hour company, it has its ups and downs. If you don't have a supporting cast, it can be really hard on your mental. If you don't really push for your mental to be strong, and you don't do a lot of outside stuff to do that, then you can come in here and get beat up real fast because you're dealing with 22 associates, they all got life.
Okay.
And if you don't know how to really manage your own life, you can come in here and really be really beat up mental wise.
Mental wise?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. Hmm. Do you see this like being like your long life career, or you're advancing with the company, or anything like that?
So, ask that question again.
Like, do you like see yourself like being here like with the company long term, like 5, 10 years from now, and then climbing like the ranks of different management or managerial positions?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I was, I mean, when I first got hired, I was like, this is another job. My max length of time at a job was a year. Before Waffle House, like once the year started coming on, I was like, well, I'm looking for another job. But as far as career wise, I mean, Waffle House is, for me wise, is phenomenal career wise. Mainly because it's just my personality fits the Waffle House culture itself when it comes to family. That's what really drives me. I'm all about opportunity. I'm all about providing opportunity. And if you don't own a business outside of Waffle House, then there's no way to provide people opportunity for you being in control. When it comes to job, when it comes to cash wise, because
Okay.
I mean, most people have issues with cash itself. And
Okay.
so once I'm able to provide that, then it's just, I'm all about that. It's opportunity. And that's what keeps me at Waffle House, is providing people opportunity to take care of their nails or their hair, or providing an extra trip for their kids or stuff like that. Insurance, stock options.
Okay. So there are a lot of benefits you say, like
Yes.
being here and longevity and working like to advance or grow
Yes.
within the company.
And to answer the advanced question, it's like I want to advance, but it's now that I have 2 sons and a wife,
Okay.
it's, do I want the income or do I want the peace with the income? And right now, the way my finances are set up, I have peace and income, and I'd rather have that time with my family, because running one store is, I mean, once you master running one store,
Mm-hmm.
then and you got your staff running the systems, then work-life balance is easy, because you train people. I mean, even though we have assistant managers, you can train people to master certain things, to where it takes off the load of you. It takes a lot of the load away, so now you can focus on other things. And so I love where I'm at right now.
Okay.
So advanced would probably be something a lot more further down the line, but right now I'm comfortable, I'm content. I can control what I can control, and I can get out here at a reasonable amount of time and still see daylight.
Okay. So is there ever like a real challenge between balancing work life as a manager and being a like family man and even time for yourself?
100%, because it's a 24-hour location. Once we leave the building by 5, maybe 4:30, you have legitly associates running the store from 2 p.m. all the way to 7 in the morning. And when I'm leave here, I have the potential of somebody calling me because of something I can't control, sickness, issues at the store, a lot of uncontrollables. I mean, it's just a lot of things that come up that you can't really control. And if you don't know how to empower people to control the things that they can, then you can be on the phone like, hey, where's the receipt paper? Or what's under the register? A customer wanted T-bone. He didn't want sirloin. Give him what he want. He wanted a refund because the eggs was cooked wrong. Give him a refund. So it's just a lot of things that the associates can control, but you got some managers who want to be in control, and then it just, if you're trying to control every aspect, you're not going to have work-life balance. I don't like control, so.
Okay.
You know.
Shoot, let's get into some tricky questions, man. What about the ups and downs of this place? Like, we can't get no more hot syrup. We can't get no. Sometimes we can't even get the utensils because y'all run out. Like the bathroom be messed up, and they be like, "It ain't my turn. I should have did it yesterday." Or what all that stuff. How do you deal with all of that?
So I guess that's a good question. So when it comes to the hot syrup thing, a lot of customers don't look at it from a safety standpoint. Because if I come to the table with hot syrup and your child's right here and he reaches for my arm and I don't know he's reaching for my arm, I'll pour hot syrup on him, then that's a lawsuit.
Okay.
So it's all about customer first. So the reason why they push out a lot of stuff is because it's putting themselves in situations to avoid having to pay. I mean, hot syrup is free, but hot syrup can turn into $1 million real fast.
Okay.
So, and when it comes to like a lot of the bathrooms and to-go utensils, it's just the manager being able to predict a lot of things.
Okay.
Like we do a lot of walk. So when we come in, we're supposed to check the parking lot as we're driving. We're supposed to walk the line, check the bathrooms, and so a lot of stuff is preventative things that we can do. It's just sometimes if you've been doing it. I mean, I say you've been doing the same thing for 6 months. Some things become like, I'm not gonna do it today, and the day you don't do it is the day that a customer comes in and is like, there's no toilet paper, the bathrooms look messed up, it's throw up all over the place, and to-go supplies, that's just one of those. You gotta know your business. If you don't know your business and the busy seasons and the non-busy seasons.
Okay.
It's real easy to neglect a lot of things that's overlooked because there's just so much on a manager where he has to control associates, order supplies, pull the food, handle payroll, making sure everybody happy, and it's just like it can be overwhelming if you don't run the systems. Waffle has amazing systems, but sometimes we as natural humans, it's like, I'm not gonna do the system today. And the day you don't do the system is the day that it goes left. So if you just follow the systems, it should be smooth, but
Okay. Well, what about, like you said, systems? What about the locations that close early or that you can only go through the window and you don't get that good customer service or the quality of what you're speaking of? Then, like, why is that? How could we fix that? Is there a way to fix that? Because I know complaining, right?
Yeah.
Like we can say, I'm gonna complain, okay, they'll do something about it. They'll say they'll do something about it, but do you think that there's a way to fix it? To make in those certain areas, troubled areas.
Yeah.
Is there certain ways to fix it? Like possibly like hiring like security or something, or where more associates kind of at the night shift, like playing on the numbers of, okay, it's holiday, Cinco de Mayo, Labor Day, Memorial Day, instead of having, like you said, if the census get low, then you might have 1 or 2 people. That's all you need, but it's on a holiday.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Can it be controlled? No, because you're dealing with people, honestly.
Okay.
And I feel like I think Waffle has created this culture of hot food fast and family, and you can talk to the cook, you can yell at the cook, you can throw whatever at the cook. I mean, it's just like it's like my little cousin.
Right.
I can talk to my cousin however I want to, and we created a culture that, in a sense, has normalized a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Because if you go to the Applebee's, you ain't talking to the cook at all. You're not talking to them.
Yeah,
you won't even know who's cooking your food. But when it comes to Waffles, it's just like it's a. I feel like it's in a huge apartment.
Okay.
And however that household runs depends on who runs in the household. So essentially, you can, in a sense, have a what's the word? You can have a sense of control, but ultimately there's no control because you can't control a home. Like, for example, we got a spot by the highway where there's just a lot of homeless people in the area, and that's just something you can't really control. You can control the amount of income and outcome and traffic of it, but ultimately, like, it just becomes overwhelming over time. And the only way to really control it is COVID came and it presented the opportunity to push out the to go option for the windows.
Okay.
And so what it did was it put the safety of the associates first,
Okay.
to where now the associates can really control who comes in and out. And ultimately, like, of course you still have issues, but you kind of cut down on a lot of like YouTube opportunities to where people are coming in and like throwing chairs, and it's just like certain locations is right beside a club, and the only way to control that is if you can shut down a restaurant and do to goes only from the window. And I think that's phenomenal. I'm glad they pushed that out because some locations they need it more than others, honestly. But ultimately, to answer the question, no, it's not impossible, but it's like only way to do that is to create robots. That's it. Create robots. That's it. So.
Let's see. 1 second. Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Ask me a really hard question.
All right. So, does it take you long time to make crucial decisions while being a manager here? Like something that's it's the definition of your job.
Yeah.
And the livelihood of, hey, this person, I mean, he or she is here and is working, but it's not working out for you.
Yeah.
And you gotta let them go. Like you, how do you handle that? And you know their situation.
Yeah. It takes. I mean, for me, I like to marinate on everything, especially when it comes to people, because everybody has a season to where everything just ain't working out, and with it being a job, you got to take. It's like, is it more so about the job or is it more so about the person? And a lot of times, a lot of people pick the job and neglect the person when really it's just a conversation. And so yes, it does take a while to really make a decision because I have the potential to make this person homeless or allow this person to provide food for their family. And so I always have to weigh the two because it's just like, can I coach this person to be a better person? Can I bring this person from a C to a B? Or is this person just not working out? I've exhausted all my options. Hey, this is a write-up. Hey, this is the coaching process. Hey, I don't want to get rid of you, but I just feel like if I talk to you first, I feel as though we can come to some common ground. But if not, and you continuously are abusing my niceness, then it's like, yeah, you're not working out here. Okay. And there's ways about going about it. You can say, hey, you're fired, or you can just start cutting down their hours. Because there's a pro and con to firing people. They can retaliate. In the world that we live in now, I mean, you fire somebody and now they're mad and now they're taking it out on all your staff.
Versus, have that happen?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't ever. No. I've never had that happen. I've never had a Waffle that I've heard of have that happen. Okay. But just seeing how other companies operate, they'll fire you, and that's it. And you're the father of 5 kids, and your wife is providing off your income, and they fire you. It's just like we can't help you no more. That's a mental break. That'll break somebody mentally.
Okay, so we'll go like this. If you was let go today, would you be able to sustain another job or whatever your passion is outside of Waffle House to make a living for family?
Well, I would say yes because ultimately my provider isn't a person. Based off my faith,
Okay. Okay.
God got me.
Okay.
And that's not against anybody else. It's just, yes, Waffle House provides me income,
Mm-hmm.
but my faith is what keeps me sustained, knowing that my needs are met.
What do you instill in your sons that, like, you hope that they implement, like you, growing up in this, millennial world with crypto and YouTube and like all the games? How do you?
Uh, Self-respect, honestly. I feel like ultimately, if self-respect is there, then a lot of stuff, like if I pride myself on respecting others, um, I can take that and go millennials down the line to where it's just like, because, for example, staffing wise, staffing is all based off how you treat people. Even millionaires talk about the more people you help, the more you're able to get further in life. It's all about how many people can you help. And I want to instill that in my sons, where it's just like, just treat people with respect. All the other stuff comes second. If you treat somebody with respect, you just don't know who you're entertaining for one. They say you entertain 5 millionaires a day or a week, and you just don't know. You just don't know who you're entertaining. And if I just treat somebody with respect, they're like, yo, what's your name? Who's your dad? Oh, this is what my dad instilled in me. And you're like, you know what? What do you want today? What type of income do you need for today to survive? And if he say 50K, do write him a check and you go about his day. And you just don't know. Like, I'm not saying that has happened yet, but I've seen servers.
He got 50K.
Right? There's servers who are in Waffle House right now who's provided a service for people, and people legitly bust out. They're like, hey, how much your college tuition costs? They'll write a check and pay for the college tuition because they see them working hard. It's just almost like a homeless guy. You see somebody who's trying and who just can't get ahead, and people who got it are willing to give it. It's just, why would I give my money to somebody who's going to not take care of it? That's just, stewardship is important. Like, that's important. Like, that's another thing is stewardship is, I want to instill that right now. My son, he can be a little unstewardy, but I just gotta, he's 4, so I gotta take in consideration he's still 4. I don't want to take away his childhood. Because I feel as a culture, we can instill adulthood at an early age. And as we get older, we're trying to revert back to our childhood because we didn't have one. It's take care of your little brother and sister.
Yeah.
Well, I'm only 4. What do I know?
I got you.
You know. So I'm watching myself on some things that I was taught, and it's like, well, he only 4, so how can you watch your little brother?
Okay.
Of course he's gonna get into something,
Kids, boy, they do it to you.
Yeah,
boy.
right.
So, like, by you being a manager or a worker at Waffle House, do you feel that people look down upon you or treat you different because he works at Waffle House? He does nothing. You know what I'm saying? He just a cook or he just clean bathrooms and that's that.
I don't know.
I want to change it then.
Okay.
Have you been treated less than because you work at Waffle House?
I haven't. I want to say no.
Okay.
Mainly because it's all about how I carry myself. I carry myself with so much pride and about my appearance, about how I talk, about how I present myself. Because at the end of the day, like, even though Waffle House is its own company in itself, I still represent the company.
Okay.
And so when I go out in my uniform, it's, okay, do I got waffle batter halfway up my shirt, or do I got my shirt halfway cut off, or am I presentable enough to where it's just like, oh, you're gonna work at Waffle House? Well, I want to work there too because I want to look like you. And I feel like it's a representation of who's wearing it. You know,
Mm.
because with your brand, it's just like it all depends on who's wearing it. It's are they gonna represent it well, or are they gonna represent it bad? And you got a lot of Waffle Houses that don't represent Waffle. So it's like instead of people saying it's that Waffle House or that location, they say it's Waffle House because they associate Waffle House with certain locations, and it's not the Waffle House. It's just what's been allowed at that location. Rather than saying I'm gonna just name a random manager, Bobby Boucher. Bobby Boucher allows his location to run this way, and then it's Waffle House. Waffle House bad company. And we've got a lot of bad rep because we've somehow, people can present themselves, very well. They get the job, they get an interview, and they get in there, and it's like, whoa, this is a whole different person we hired. So it's just people slip through the crack, and they represent the company in a very bad way.
If a customer that comes in has an issue with, like, they're watching the cook and they have an issue with the cook, he or she is, puts on gloves and everything, but they don't have a hairnet on, and they're like, hey, I don't want that food because such and such doesn't have a hairnet on, and I just want a refund, but they're upset.
Yeah.
How do you diffuse that?
Well, the way that I did diffuse it is, hey, yes, I'll give you a refund, but if you don't mind me cooking your order, then I don't mind cooking it. Because, we have to carry ourselves a certain way.
Right.
And sometimes our associates they just kind of, they push the envelope so much, and it's just like some things we can't control, but like a hairnet, I'll talk to the associate like, hey, can you put on the hairnet? And as they leave the grill, I'll say, hey, I don't mind recooking your food. So what the customer sees is me taking their issues important, or taking their issues as being important, as the cook is walking back to the back to put on the hairnet, and say, hey, I have them put on the hairnet. We don't mind recooking your order. And if they say, well, nah, I just don't want to get it no more, I'm like, all right, that's cool. I give him his order. I'll give him his refund and let him go about his day. And I'll say, hey, hopefully we can do better tomorrow.
Dang, so because you gotta get them to come back.
Yes,
like,
you gotta get them to come
hey,
back.
You be hungry one day.
Right.
Come on back. I'll be here waiting on you.
Right.
Okay. Well. And
not saying that all people respond. I'm not saying that it's always the case, but in most cases, my biggest thing is customers. Like, if I can make a customer happy that's controllable, then why not? Somebody's like, hey, can I get a little bit more extra hash browns? Hey, yes. Hash browns, 50 cents. I don't mind giving you extra hash browns. Like, I'm not going to debate about 50 cents.
Okay.
We lose 50 cents on associates eating chicken. Like, I'm not going to debate about extra hash browns.
Okay.
It's just picking your battles, and that's just a battle I'm not going to pick.
Well, you seem like your location really got it going on.
No. Yeah. We have our days, but it's just if I can control a lot of things, I will. Like,
what about the days that is pandemonium? Do you display discomfort and like hostility or anger or annoyed to your staff that they know, oh, he's upset, guys. You gotta let him go. You gotta leave him alone. When that happens,
so that's a good question. I've never yelled at my staff, and I can pride myself on saying nobody's customer-wise, staff-wise, have seen me yell at anybody on my staff.
Okay.
Because one thing I'm not going to do is, in the back of my head, I'm asking myself, if I respond in emotion, I'm working second shift that same day. Because at the end of the day, associates, it's the livelihood of our business. And so why would I stoop to a point to where I'm so in my emotions and pride to where I'm going to degrade you in front of the whole staff? Now you're not going to be willing to do anything extra for me. Hey, can you go sweep the parking lot? Of course. And so I take a lot of my conversations to the back to where I'm stern and I'm fair because, for one, I don't like write-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can have a conversation with you and say, hey, listen, I don't like write-ups, you don't like write-ups, I'm gonna treat you like a grown man or a grown woman.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a conversation. Can you express what you was feeling? And I'll drop my all emotions and listen to what they have to say. Now, is that the case 100% of the time? No, because sometimes it's just like I got emotions like everybody else.
Right.
You're not gonna disrespect me when I've never disrespected you. You're not gonna cuss at me. You're not gonna raise your voice at me, and you're not gonna degrade me.
Okay. 3 right there.
So it's just some things I don't allow, and if they see that I don't allow it, then of course they're like, well, it's so funny. So my socials know I don't yell, and so when somebody starts to get rowdy, they're like, hey, we ain't doing that. So the socials start sticking up for me because they know I'm not an aggressive person. So when they see somebody being over the top, customer earlier today was like, yeah, he not gonna be a good fit. And I was like, and I heard what he said, but I didn't really take it to heart. And I listened to what he said, and I had a conversation with the guy 5 minutes later, and I was like, hey, everything okay? He ignored me. Brand new hire, he ignored me. I was like, what's up, man? It ain't 7 o'clock yet. Oh, so you just confirmed everything the guy just said. So let him work 3 hours and send him on his way.
Yeah. So insubordination, eh?
I just let him work a couple hours, defusing the situation. So, cause I could have like said, hey, you're fired. Don't worry about coming back in. But what I did was I just let him work a couple hours, so he can still provide for himself, and say, hey, I'll let you know the next available spot.
So you took control of the
Yeah.
situation without it escalating or being like hostile or like, I'm your manager, you're gonna do this.
Right.
I like that.
And so just because he doesn't work for this location doesn't mean he doesn't work for another location.
So like, if you had a troubled employee here that was insubordinate and just wasn't a good fit,
Yeah.
you could ask for them for a transfer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, this may not be the right way, but I hire everybody. It's impossible. It's hard for me to say no, because once you hire somebody, they'll let you know if they want to work or not. They'll not show up or they'll just fire themselves. Everybody fired themselves. Waffle House got this saying where it's just like, the only way you get fired from Waffle House is because you want to get fired. And a lot of times people want to get fired. So.
All right. That's a funny question. Is it true that all the cooks at Waffle House have to smoke Newports?
Oh, no. I got, on my staff I have, well, now the new thing is vapes.
Well, okay.
But-
We'll say vapes and Newports.
But no, a cook doesn't have to smoke to be, because if anything, if you have a cook that smokes, now you got potential 30 breaks because he has to smoke. So, not saying that a person who smokes versus doesn't smoke, but you prefer somebody who doesn't smoke because, I mean, at the end of the day, it don't matter. Like, as long as you do your job. But no, a cook doesn't have to smoke to be a good cook. That is funny though.
Hey, shoot, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
They'll be right outside. Hey, I'm ready to get off work. So like, overall, you seem to like your job, love your job like that. So overall, would you say that you're happy?
What do you elaborate more? What do you mean?
Okay, happy with here, where your life is right now, versus where you see yourself years from now.
I feel like that's a two-part question.
Okay, you can bring it up.
I won't use the word happy. I'd say at peace. I'm at peace where I'm at.
Okay.
Because for a long time I've always wanted to be here. I fought to get here. be married, have all boys, have my own house,
Okay.
be financially stable out from my parents,
Okay.
be in control of my finances, and just not having to, I wouldn't say rely on people, but it's just like being able to wake up and say, what do I want to do today? And that's just a peaceful thing. And my wife and I are just on this elevator
Okay.
where we're going up because I married and met my wife within like 90 days.
Okay.
So we met January 9th. Well, we met November 26th. We didn't make it official until January 9th. April 1st that same year, we got engaged. May 31st, we got married. And that's how my whole life has been. It's always been a calculated step. Where I'm always like years and months ahead. Now I'm at a point to where I don't have to be that. I don't have to be ahead. I don't have to be worrying about finances. To where I told my wife the other day, like, I'm in a sense don't want to get stuck, but I also don't want to take away from right now, because I spent from the age 12 to 32. 30, figuring out, wondering, crying because I want to be here. And now that I'm here, it's just like, this feel kind of good.
Okay.
This feel real good.
What advice would you give the youngins out there, like a person that's saying that's like doubtful, a person that's struggling, that's going through it with like information or like gems that you would give them to let them know that don't give up, keep going, or if you're over the age of probably I guess 18, come on here, I'll hire you. Come on, give you a shot. How would you?
In life itself, life or just
in general, just anybody. What would you tell them? Like young, kind of like you said, searching for their purpose. What advice would you give them to motivate them, to let them know that they have a chance, but they have to be willing to want it bad enough?
control the controllables. Control your environment. So if I say I want to be a business owner, why am I surrounding myself with non-business owners? So if you want to be something, so start surrounding yourself with those people, because now you start to walk, you start to talk, you start to mature in a way that you'll say, well, this is something that I thought I wanted, but I don't want it. And so to really put that all in a term that everybody understands is find mentors. And I wouldn't even go along to say find mentors. Just find people who have what you want. They say your life is based off of your 5 top friends. What you read and what you hear, and it's just like I pride myself on that. I can control who I'm surrounded by, what I'm reading, and what I'm listening to. And if you say you want something, then I should see it in your friends, in your conversations, and on your dream board. And if not, then you don't really want it.
I like that.
So-
I like that. I'm trying to think of anything else. Because if you got a question by chance you want to ask, you think of? Hey man, I think you did a phenomenal job, man. Like say, I really want to ask some, quirky, crazy questions. But
I go ahead, man. I mean,
like I said,
people want to know.
yeah, I'm just like think. I was like,
I was gonna say, the cliche thing when they say, you know your wife when you first meet her. Was it like that for you?
No.
oh,
Was it?
Thank you.
You gotta react to what they calling me girl.
Dang.
No.
Well, dang. So, when you met your wife, was it love at first sight?
No. So outside, was that Waffle House? Yeah, it was at Waffle House.
Okay.
Yeah, it was at Waffle House.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
at,
yeah.
no,
So, yeah,
I
man,
wasn't at. So,
Okay.
dang, how am I put this together? I know she gonna see it. So, outside of work, I'm a natural born entrepreneur. So I'm I'm always trying to figure out how to not be, because at the end of the day, I know this is a job.
Mm-hmm.
Transparency, all transparency, this is a job. So I can get fired or I can be physically unable to provide for my family financially. And so I never lose sight of that. And so I try to put myself in situations to where money's still coming in if I'm not at work or at work.
Passive income.
Passive income.
Okay.
And so it's not to take away from the Waffle House itself. Is Waffle House bought my house, bought my cars, my wife staying at home, all this stuff. It's just like, but it's, what about me though? Like, and so when I met my wife, I was meeting her because I wanted to partner her business wise.
Life partner.
Yes. And so originally, I wanted to partner her business wise. She was at Panera Bread. And so whenever I go somewhere, I'm all about the associates. I'm loud. You gonna know me. Like, you gonna know who I am. And so when I walk into Panera Bread, all the associates like, oh, what's up, man? How you doing? I'm being loud, you know, not loud, but like interacting with the associates. She coming in. Interacting with the associates. We'll be right with you, ma'am. And interacting with the associates. Okay, she coming. I was interacting with the associates, and at the time I didn't know she was the manager. She wanted to order. I was interacting with the associates. She comes out and start wiping tables down, and so it's like from here to about where the grill area at, and I see her like intentionally wiping the tables, getting closer and closer to the table. I'm like, hey, can you talk to her to see if she, you know, what she's all about? And so the partner I was with, business partner I was with, she ended up exchanging. So I went to the bathroom, everything, so she can get her name and number. I come back, she get her social network, and I'm like, that's not a real exchange of networking. So I started asking her questions. She's like, I want to be an influence of women, but I just don't know where to go for it. And I was like, I know some people I can connect you with. And then a month later, she was talking. She was like, she carried herself like a grown woman. I think she was like, what, 5 years ago? She was 25, and she just was talking like she was like a grown woman. And I liked what she was saying, but I couldn't picture myself with her because I was so business first. But she was calling me her husband before I even knew anything.
She manifests you.
Yeah, she did.
Hey, manifestation is real. That's what I'm talking about.
So and then I gave her like a hidden ultimatum where I sat down with her at a Mexican place and I just told her what I wanted in my life and who I want to be surrounded by. And it came off as though I was talking to her, but I was talking about my dreams and goals because that's just who I am. Like, I'm always talking about where I want to go, where I want to be. And she took it as though, oh, he's talking about me.
Right.
So, and it's just a lot of small things that she did that was like, man, she really different. Because I was looking at the outward appearance.
Okay.
I was all outward. I had
Okay,
this.
so
I was told to make 100 things that you wanted in a wife or a partner, and I legitimately wrote 100 things, and I had that since I was 17. I had it written down, and then my grandmother passed, and I had to recalibrate my emotions, my thoughts, because she's my everything. She was my all, and so I met my wife 3 days after my grandmother had passed, indirectly not knowing that she had the same characteristics, the same support, the same encouragement, and I'm like, that's a little weird, but she just had everything that I wanted that wasn't physical, but I recalibrated my list to the 10 non-negotiables, and it was God, family, and business.
like that.
And
like that.
And now that we're together for 5 years, the 100 things that I desired are all checked off.
That's good.
So I mean,
That's what I'm talking about.
so from a worldly standpoint, I wanted a certain thing.
Okay.
From a selfish standpoint, because I wanted a what you call a trophy. I wanted a trophy.
Trophy wife.
Yes. But it wasn't gonna last. I was gonna fit in a part of the statistics, where you marry, can't get past 2 years. But yeah, I'm glad So it's funny. So it was I was talking about marriage, but I wasn't really like. I was just kind of seeing how people responded to it, and I forgot I told her to start looking for rings, but she remembered. I'm saying in a joking way, like, "Oh, go start looking for rings," and she started looking for rings. And she started she started washing my clothes. She started making food for me, and I'm like, and with me being so single-minded, and somebody coming in and adding to and taking away a lot of the responsibilities, it was hard to accept that, because we were both sockets trying to, plug each other in, and it wasn't meshing right. So I had to become what's the word? I had to become unsingle-minded, and it took a while, because for a long time I was like, I've got here without you. I've gotten here without you. So what do you got to offer? Like, why should I listen to you? And that was the first year itself. Like, we both had to figure out, like, we're not going nowhere. So let's make it work.
And so in that, what exact turning point that you knew that you was like, hey, I'll be engaged, I'm gonna propose to her, she is the angel or the woman that I manifested?
So because I was so into my flesh, I always ignored the small voice I'd always heard, and I was I remember to this day. I was laying on the couch. I get a text at 3 o'clock in the morning. A friend had spent the night to my house. He comes out of town. He goes by, his name is Terrence Antonio. He runs a company called Tap. He's a phenomenal photographer, videographer, all 9 yards. And he texts me, and he's like, because he left, I think, a week later. He texts me. He's like, you need to make her a wholesome girl. And I'm like, get off my phone. Get off my phone. And so the conviction was so heavy because I always was being convicted. I already had conviction that I needed to make this right. And I had people surrounded, that was in my life, who had everything I wanted, the marriage, the kids. And for him to say that, it was like, wow, so I'm doing everything to prevent what I want. And so I was trying to go a different route, but he just kind of just reassured that you need to make her somebody you can respect and other people can respect, and not the typical girl. And that's how it happened so fast. It was a reconfirmation. It's like, I went to go get the ring that same day. I didn't know when to do it. I just like April 1st, forgetting it was April Fools.
April Fools, yeah.
So, and I'm like, I want to make this right, not just from conviction standpoint, but because I want to make sure that she's as a whole is right, so she can go and be proud of the connection, and be able to boast. From a faith standpoint, like, hey, this is something I can be proud of, and not something I gotta hide. Because everybody's process is different, but it's just like some processes you can't talk about.
Yeah, you're right.
How do y'all get together? Oh, well, I mean,
one drunken night. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's cool. You walk by faith, not by sight.
Yeah.
I like that, man. Shoot, damn. Boy, you hit that, boy. I appreciate you. Man. So, basically what we got with him, hey, realism. Hey, real shit, let's talk podcast, man. You know, I'm JR.
Alexander the Great.
Hey man, y'all need to come to Waffle House near you. You know what I'm saying? Check it out. Also, guys, subscribe to the YouTube Real Shit Let's Talk podcast, man.